I'm excited to be with you. I'm so glad to have met you a few months ago. You're a total powerhouse.
Thank you.
So what do you want to talk about?
Yes, I want to talk about, first of all, let's talk a little bit about, well, give us some context about what you do, but I really want to hear the story of where you started to where you are now and anything that you want to share. Because I know our theme, which is one that you chose, is about speaking up, basically speaking it to believe it with your expertise.
Yeah, so I'll share how this all got started. And I used to be a news reporter. I did that for many years. And what I realized, actually meeting my husband, is that I was in an industry that was, quite frankly, very sexist. And my husband would get called in for his storytelling and his writing, and I would get called in for my shade of lipstick or for not wearing a tight enough dress. And I really wanted to change the narrative of my life and the type of people that I surrounded myself with. And so I started Love Social Media, and my goal is to work with women. And my team is all women. We work with a lot of female founders, or some great, if they're men, they're also supportive of women in general. And my goal is for women to feel like they can succeed and grow both personally and professionally. I always felt like it was something you had to choose. If I wanted to be a mom, I might not be considered for the promotion. If I wanted to, you know, a lot of the women on my team have different, what we call side hustles, whether that's Pilates or bloggers. And I think that women are multifaceted, and we need to be able to do a multitude of things to do things right.
I agree so much. What do you think for you was the turning point? And by the way, that is so disheartening to hear. And I know it was your reality, but about just the lipstick and the not tight enough dress. I mean, talk about a visual representation of sexism in the workplace. It's terrible.
I mean, you know, it still happens. And even the pay disparity, knowing what my husband was making compared to what I made in the business. And I just think that when I started Love Social Media, I always had that in the back of my mind. I still wanted to story tell. That's what I've always loved to do at the heart of it. But how can I do it in a way that is creating a team of women who don't feel like they have to sacrifice, and will have, you know, pay isn't an issue when it comes to being discriminatory.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about when you made the decision to branch out on your own and what that looked like.
So it was in 2016. I was moving to Pittsburgh with actually a job in TV news. And about 2 weeks before, I looked at my husband and I said, I think I'm going to quit. I really want to be able to start my own company. I don't think I can do this anymore. I don't think that this is what fills my cup. And he was luckily 100% supportive. And so it began, like, how do you start a business when you don't have clients? You know, you want to do it. And so I went to downtown Pittsburgh. I started going into different businesses. I would say one in particular was a coffee shop. And I said, I noticed you haven't leaned into video marketing. Here are 3 things that we could do today to change that. And I'd love if you could give me a chance for 3 months. I did this at first completely for free, because I wanted to be able to prove myself, to show where we started on day 1 versus day 90. And so that's how I got my first shot.
Oh my gosh. I remember in the speaking career, I don't know if it, or the speaking industry, maybe it's the same for yours, from free to fee. That's what we would talk about.
Exactly. And, you know, I feel like it's a little bit old school now to say you would ever do anything for free, but that's how I built my portfolio. And obviously once I had a few clients under my belt, I started charging more, and my fees started going up. And my first client, I think, paid me $100 for a month. And just this year, I had a client pay me $10,000 for the month. So we've come a long way.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Celebrating. That's amazing. What advice would you give to someone who was in your position in that before 2016, trying to decide, do I do it? How do I do it? And all of that.
So I think a lot of women come to me with the question of a career pivot and a career change, and they feel stuck. They have dreams for making their side hustle full time, but taking that leap is scary. And so I did a job at the time when I was starting Love Social Media that wasn't my favorite, but I did it for money. I knew it was video editing. You know, I did it 20 hours a week and then did my business another 40 hours a week. And I did it just to make the income, because at the beginning you're not making money, but I still wanted to take a chance on myself. And I knew that if I was still in my full-time role, I couldn't give 110% to my business. So whether that's you taking up a bartending job or working at, you know, like a restaurant, it doesn't matter. But if you can start to build and grow the confidence on the side, I think that that's something that I did to sort of ease the transition.
I think that's really smart. And I did that for many years myself. And I also think that's a really good example of what does make you have that joy that you have. Like, is it exactly what you thought that it would be? Or, you know, I do feel like a lot of experimentation happens in those phases in the very beginning, for sure.
That's such a good point, because there are many people that I've encountered who say, you know what, being a business owner is not for me. I don't like, you know, not knowing where my next job is going to be. I like more security. So by kind of dipping your toes at the beginning, you can see if entrepreneurship is for you.
Yeah, I agree. I want to come to our theme of the evening about speak it to believe it, and share a little bit more about that and your story, because I do think that confidence is such a huge thing. That's why so many people talk about it. And that is something that I want to continue to help instill in women. So tell us about that.
So there are a couple big moments in the last 6 years of running my business where I really needed to say something out loud to myself first. And I will tell you, the first time I needed to do this and to really just have the confidence, which was to have my first W-2 full-time employee.
Ooh.
And yeah, so this was, I guess, 4 years ago when I had my first employee, but that was the first time I felt a little bit paralyzed by the idea that someone would be coming to me for their livelihood and for 40 hours a week, and that I would be committing to providing them a career. And I had to do some soul searching and looking at myself and saying, I'm going to bet on me. I'm going to bet that in 6 months, I'm going to have enough money to pay for myself and to pay for this other person. And now we are here in 2023, and I'm supporting the careers of 10 women who are all full-time under me. So I think by taking that first, it sounds crazy, but the first hire was harder than the 10th, if that makes sense.
Yeah, say more. I mean, I think I can relate to it, but I'm not exactly sure if we're in the same. Yeah. Tell us.
What I'm saying is that the first time where I didn't know if I could do it, if I could be responsible for someone's salary, it was the serious thing. But after I had done it, and I knew, and I had the confidence to say, I can do one. If I can do one, I can do two. And if I can do two, I can do four. And, you know, and it's still something that I think takes some courage to have and to, and we've grown in the last year. And so what's interesting is that I then started looking at my business as a little bit more holistic. So the women who are working for me, besides monetary compensation, what else could we do? And the first thing was health insurance. And no one wanted to give me health insurance. They were like, your company's too small. And I had to really dig deep and find the confidence to say that I know that this is growing. Can you please give us a plan? We're gonna, you know, and
yes.
It sounds crazy, but yes, I needed the confidence to say we need health insurance. And then after health insurance, we now have 401k available. And it sounds like basic things, but they were really important to building a workplace that people want to be in.
Yes, that's a big deal. I want to celebrate that. And I think it's really important to just, again, take these moments to celebrate these wins that, like thinking back to all those years ago when you got that $100 and now you're at 10 grand, or that, you know, you had a client. That to me, those are those moments to go, wow, this is significant. And to have that W-2 and from 1 to now 10. I mean, I just want to say that's amazing. And congratulations. And you had the vision to make all that happen. And then now here it is happening and unfolding before you. So
Well,
that's
thank you
awesome.
for saying that, because I do think that that's something as women that it's we're so go, go, go. We're looking 10 steps ahead that we don't always reflect on where we came from.
Yes.
Or we downplay. Like I would say, well, 10's not 100, even though, you know.
I know. We are so hard on ourselves. We are so hard on ourselves. So can you speak a little bit more to the part about where you felt like you shared openly with me. I hope that I can share this on here.
Yeah.
Just about the speaking it to believe it. What do you mean by that? I know I kind of took your idea and just ran with that title, but say a little bit more about that for people that feel like, gosh, I just don't have that confidence quite yet. What does speaking it even mean?
So what that means, I'm going to equate this to think back to that boyfriend that you had or girlfriend that you had that you couldn't break up with. And you needed to say it out loud. I am going to break up with this person. And you probably needed to say it 10 more times to gain the confidence to pull the plug.
I love it.
If I ever had to break up with a boyfriend, I had to tell like 10 friends in order to like muster it up. And I think that I want to encourage us to also say to our friends and our family that I'm going to be $1 million company. And, you know, saying that out loud was really hard for me a few years ago. But the more that I said it and the more that I confidently was able to say that to my partners and my friends and my people in business, the more the thought became real. Ooh. And I said that probably 2 years ago, and it took me 2 years, but we did hit over 1 million in 2022. And yes, thank you. I mean, again, I will say, I'll be like, well, but it wasn't 2 million, but it was 10 million. But you know what? I did it and I spoke it into existence, and I, you know, started to say it to my husband, and I didn't feel like an imposter, and I didn't, you know, we need to put that out there. And then this year when I was thinking about my goals, and I thought, well, I just want to do it again. And my friend said to me, no, we need to stretch. You need to put into the existence. She wanted me to say 2 million. I was like, that I can't do that, but I will say I want to make 1.5 million because and let's talk about money, because not a lot of women do.
I love talking about money. Let's make more of it.
But if I can say that out loud and not be embarrassed or shy, but say that, and if I don't hit it, I don't hit it, right? But if I do hit it or I go beyond it, I just feel like by putting it out there, by saying it, it just helps us achieve what we want.
I couldn't agree more with you. I love doing this, and I love the act as if. And for me, my big dream is to, and my expectation, and I've been publicly sharing this, so it's like it's going to happen. But speaking at the Chase Center in San Francisco as the main event. So I am going to be doing that and focusing on eradicating self-doubt in 10 million women. So what I find fascinating about this is that it's not just a fun idea. This is science-based. When you look at from a neuroscience perspective, you're actually changing the synapses in your brain and helping these things come to life and helping all of the energy and, you know, the universe to make it all happen. And I think the other fascinating thing that I find so interesting, again, from a science perspective with our brains, is that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. And this is also why role plays are so powerful, because when you've already spoken it into existence, you've acted as if it's happened, you've even practiced it and talked to people about it, that then your brain in the real scenario goes, oh, I've been here before. I've made $1 million, or, you know, whatever amount that you're going for. So I couldn't agree more with you, Katie. I feel like, yes, yes, yes.
I think that's something I love so much about you, is that you will put numbers to something and you will say it out loud and you say it confidently. And I think the more we do that as women, the more other people will do it as well. And a powerful exercise that I did at the beginning of this year with my team was an I am statement. But I didn't want them to say, I am an account manager, or I am a community manager. I wanted them to say, I am the role they want to be next year, or the place they want to be in.
Oh, I want to come work for you.
Work for me. And so if you say, and so we have sometimes, we have a couple women that struggle with confidence on the team, as I think that many of us do. Imposter syndrome, we all have it. And by saying that, like for me, I am a confident leader of a 10-person team that is making multi-millions of dollars. And we're not there yet. But if I can say that to myself over and over, and I can put that on my mirror, on my computer, then maybe it happens, right? Like you just said, science can back up our positive affirmations to ourselves. So
it's true. It's true. I mean, I've always believed these things more from a faith perspective, honestly, but over the years, seeing how all of this research backs this stuff up, I find absolutely fascinating. And it makes me even more confident in why I initially would teach this to people and would do it myself. And what I find so fun, I mean, I think about all of the vision boards that I have, and I used to do a lot of exercises with my clients, and also then I would experiment with myself too. If I'm telling people to do this stuff, I better do it too. But putting a date, for example, on the top of my vision board or my journal entry of usually a year in advance, and then writing as if that's all those things have happened. Like, what would people be saying to me? And like, if you were one of my clients, I might do an interview with you and say, okay, Katie, we're gonna act as if it's whatever 1 year from now, and tell me what people are saying about your business. How much are you making now? And what I find so fun is just the creative exploratory aspect of that as well, that when we speak those things, I find that some people haven't even thought about the questions that I will ask. Not that my questions are anything fancy, it's that people haven't been entertaining those questions because they're not thinking about that.
I think that's so important to think about those things and to pose that question. And that's such a great service that you do for your clients.
It's fun. Well, I do love it, but it also works. And when I look back at some of these vision boards or some of my journal entries, not every single dream I had, of course, came true, but what I find fascinating is many of them did. And then I think, oh, I'm going to do more of this. This works.
Yes.
So
yes.
Well,
it's interesting because, and I said this to my team, this was the first year I ever made a vision board. And I know that sounds strange, but I used to have this perception that a vision board or self-help books or coaches were like woo-woo, or that I didn't need it and that I just needed to charge forward. And I don't know what that was, but I don't think that it served me. And so this year we did a vision board, and watching some of those things come into fruition and things I never thought would have happened made me just really realize the power of it. And so I've really changed my mind on that perspective.
I love that you're sharing that, because I do think that there's a number of people and that might have thought, well, basically they can relate, bottom line. And it's fascinating to look back, because what is that saying, that positive, like basically there's no harm in dreaming, because if it doesn't happen, oh well. but the odds of things happening that we think about and focus on, again, lots of research on that. What we focus on is where the energy flows, and our mindset is so powerful.
It is so powerful, and just putting yourself in a place where you can dream and you can go to that space, I think is just so is critical to you getting there.
Yeah, true. Well, I know you've talked a little bit about this, but what dream do you want to put out there?
Oh, wow.
As if it's already happened that I can support you in right now?
Oh, a big picture dream that I'm thinking about for the next year, or what's the timeline?
Whatever you want to share publicly.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, you know, it's interesting because I think it's when I talk about holistic, just not just thinking about money and my team, but also thinking about the type of mom that I want to be. And, you know, I think my big dream is for my daughter to look back at this time with me and to say that she was proud of me, because there are some really hard times. I mean, even the last few days she's been saying, Mommy, you're working too much and don't work and come play with me. And that's been so hard. And so I think my big dream is just to make her proud. I know that sounds much, but it's true.
That's a beautiful dream. That's a beautiful dream.
Thank you.
And you know, what I think about, I was having this conversation with Danny, my social media manager, a little bit about the challenges as a working mom. And I am not a mom to anything other than 2 cats. But we were talking about the idea that, think about, like, on one hand, it could be, you know, you feel like, oh, my kids saw me working all the time. On the other hand, I mean, I do think there's a balance. I don't think it has to be extreme. But then on the other hand, think about how amazing it is, this role model that you are setting for her and other women that are working, that can see that there's possibility. You can own a business as a woman. And I mean, it's sad that I even have to say that out loud. Like, I think anybody can own a business regardless of what your gender is. But when we think about the traditional gender roles, so much of the way we've been culturally conditioned, obviously, is opposite of that. And for her to be able to look at you and admire you and be proud and know that, wow, I could do that too one day if I wanted to. I think that makes it all worth it.
I think so too. I really do. And it's just something that's been on my mind. And I think I do think a lot of working women struggle with it, whether they're a business owner or not. And even parents in general, maybe it's not just for women, but I think that that's something that is important to me as I grow, is to just always remember I am many things and a mom first.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it has been so fun to have you, Katie. And is there anything that I haven't asked you that you want me to ask, or is there anything that you want to share?
I think that I really enjoyed being here and having such an honest and, you know, important talk about confidence and what it takes to be confident in your life, and what you're doing is so important. And I think it's going to help so many people and women, and that mindset shift can mean everything. So thank you for what you do. And if you enjoyed our talk, you can come follow me at Katie Love Social. And thanks so much, Karen.
Yes. And tell us, what client is your ideal? So for someone listening to this, if they have a referral or somebody that maybe it's them,
sure, what
are you looking for right now?
Most of our clients have a product-based business. We have done services, but a lot of them in skincare or travel, lifestyle. We create amazing, engaging content. And by we, I mean my team does an incredible job. And so, yes, I mean, mostly if you're a woman, you are our ideal client. So, yes, we'd love to hear from you at Love Your Social Media.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Katie. Wonderful to have you. I love your business. I love who you are as well as a person, and how you started. It's so inspiring, your whole story. And I want to just celebrate you and thank you again for also being so upfront and honest and vulnerable with all of us.
You're very welcome. welcome. Thank you for having me, and enjoy the sunshine for a couple, like it's dark here in Miami. Look at her with the sunshine. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, Katie. Have a great
Bye.
night. Bye.